Welcome to my Turn Your Magical Purpose Work into Gold 3-part masterclass training. I'm so excited that you decided to join me on this most popular and most loved masterclass training from all of my clients. Now, this training is the result of countless market research interviews, coaching sessions with my clients, soul strategy sessions, and 3 decades of working in the field of hospitality, education, hair care, coaching, both online and offline. So it's really a culmination of what my clients most want to know about this topic of turning your magical purpose work into gold. And it's also 3 decades of how I found my place in the world. So, like you, I am a unique entity. So, I have my creative, my spiritual, and my business side of me. Now, I was first initiated into my creative power when I was in high school, so a very young person. So, in high school and growing up, almost up to the years of being a teenager, I was known as a klutz at fashion. So, definitely not fashionable, didn't know how to dress up. In fact, if you could just have me stay in my sweatpants or my trackies all day, I would be a really happy person. And when my mom and my grandmother would spend time together, flipping through fashion magazines, and oft times that I joined them and say, "Oh, this looks good. Oh, this looks good," they kind of exchange looks between themselves to kind of go, "Whoops." Okay, that did not look good. So I kind of learned from a young age that, well, I didn't know much about fashion. I had no fashion sense. So it was most amazing to me when one night I couldn't sleep at all, and all of a sudden I was awakened with this I felt this surge of energy rush through my body, and all of a sudden it's as if my mind was opened up with these images. And all of a sudden I felt like I could draw and I could create fashion. So my mind, I couldn't sleep. I was just flooded with fashion images, one after another, of outfits that I would create. So it was weird because it was like, I never knew I could draw, and I never knew I certainly could do fashion. I then eventually fell asleep, but the next morning I was so excited and thinking, did what I just go through last night, did I imagine it? So I quickly, drew down the images I saw in my head the night before. And sure enough, they were, fashion illustrations or fashion drawings of outfits that I was creating. And that really was, it sparked my dream of wanting to be a fashion designer. And before that, I wanted to be a teacher and an architect. But after that awakening of my creative power, that was really where my dream of being a fashion designer was born. So my spiritual gifts, moving on to my spiritual gifts, I was awakened to the spiritual side of things after my sister, who was always very magical. I thought she was magical. I thought I was the normal one, the one who had to work hard in life. There was no magic in my life. I couldn't do magic, was not magical. So I was always very admiring of her abilities to be able to connect to the other side. And so after our whole family was initiated and, we had this guidance come into our lives, and then obviously my shadow side was awakened as well, along with this transformational phase of my life. And because my shadow side, I didn't know what to do with it. It surfaced and it came out in very destructive behaviors until I wasn't really doing my job in the family business very well. I was just spending money without thinking. And so my sister felt that I wasn't an asset in the business anymore and had to ask me to leave. So I was kicked out of my tribe, kicked out of my family. And I thought to myself, wow, this guidance that I could hear, because that was when I realized I was clairaudient, mustn't be right. I must not be hearing the right thing. So I decided to switch it off. And so when I left my family and I had to kind of, find my way independently, and, just trusting what I could do step by step, moving through life, unbeknownst to me, my guidance, of course, as you would know, was not switched off. In fact, it was actually with me all the time. And it became the foundation of my what's today known as your Monetize Your Creative Power Business Alchemy formula. In those days, it was known as the Happy, Positive, Successful formula. So, my guidance still was alive and well, with me, evolving with me through that. And definitely me being able to hear them was my solace, my strength, and my counsel through what later evolved into a very abusive marriage, a 10-year abusive marriage. And when I finally left that marriage, that was when I discovered my sovereign power. So that's the second piece of my spiritual gifts that became the catalyst for the sovereign power. And the third piece is financial power. Financial power is when I left my marriage. At the time, I didn't know where to live. I had no place to go. Didn't know what to do about money. And then 4 days later, after I left my marriage, I received a phone call from a client, and it was a 6-figure revenue just from that phone call. So it was from negative. So I was owing money and had no money to my name really, because I just walked out of my marriage. And from that to 6-figure client for the year. So that was really when I saw that when my creative power, my sovereign power, and my financial power all came into play, which I now call Power Trinity in my line of work, that I realized these three elements are really the cornerstone of how you would need to grow your business to consistent 10K months, which is what we're going to talk about today. So turn your magical purpose work into consistent 10K months is really where we're going to break down into grow your business to consistent 10K months, receive money like a queen, without working harder, longer, and feeling trapped. So part 1 today, we're going to address grow your business to consistent 10K months. The second part, coming in a few short weeks, will be to receive money like a queen. And the third piece, without working harder, longer, and feeling trapped. So this first piece about growing your business to consistent 10K months. So now when I say this, grow your business to 10K months, do you immediately feel overwhelmed about, well, how am I going to get there from where I'm at? Right? Are you thinking that you need to find the latest strategy or the latest, coolest thing, or maybe the next social media shiny object to really finally crack the code of this 10K months? Does this idea of consistency just feel really bland, really boring, and you're thinking that, this consistent thing's really gonna suck the magic out of me? And are you wondering if you already don't love what you're doing to, get to wherever you're at, whether it's 5K months or 6, 7, 8 inconsistently? How are you going to continue to do this work to grow to consistent 10K months and beyond? Well, I feel you, just so you know. Absolutely, as a creative, conscious female entrepreneur, what you are feeling, all of these concerns and worries are very, very normal. And definitely, I have been through all of them. Now, the great news is through the 3 decades of my business experience and certainly my life journey, I have found the solutions to them. I have implemented them into my own businesses through many, many iterations, through multi-industries, and certainly helped transform the businesses of my clients. I have those solutions to be sharing them with you. In fact, my first client, where I was able to implement this wisdom from the creative and the financial side of things, was my mom. So my mom, she too was an entrepreneur and a creative. She had a tailoring business. After school, I would always go to her shop and then do odd jobs, to help her out. But I knew that my mom loved her creative work, sewing garments, crafting garments for her clients, but didn't enjoy the business side. And definitely pricing was always a challenge for her. She didn't know what numbers were right, what numbers people would pay for, and what numbers reflected her worth. So she was constantly in that whole yo-yo roller coaster ride of what is the right price to charge. So I saw very quickly that, the business side trapped her. but she needed it to kind of get on with business. But she really enjoyed the creative side. So, I eventually graduated as a fashion designer, and then to my horror realized, oh dear, this fashion design thing is actually a business. I thought being a fashion designer was my outlet to explore my creativity and not delve into business at all. But yes, like I said, to my utter desperation and disbelief, I thought, wow, I've sold my soul for money. This fashion thing is ultimately still a business. Well, I finally reconciled with the fact that it was, and I thought, okay, I don't know much about this business stuff, so I will now go and enroll myself in a marketing certificate, which I did. And that opened me up to then eventually enrolling into an MBA at a university. So that really was the beginning of me, a creative bridging the business world. And coming to terms with these two sides and knowing how to integrate them so that they both worked in a beautiful way that amplified the results. And so obviously here I am today speaking with you and helping you to grow your creative spiritual work, your magical purpose work into consistent 10K months. And this is something that I've done for businesses, like I said, in brick and mortar business formats like hospitality, education, but also in online coaching. So let me ask you this. If you could turn your business into consistent 10K months, right, knowing exactly what you needed to do, and there were simple, easy, practical steps that you could do day in, day out, and that you actually enjoyed, right, without spending time figuring out a whole new other thing, right, a whole new other system or whole new social media thing, and you knew that this strategy would work, and you could, see the impact with your clients, and you were making money. Now, how would you feel? I want you to feel into that. Now, how would you feel if that is a reality for you? Excited, right? Excited, perhaps relieved that there is finally the light at the end of the tunnel, that your creative work can thrive. Now, the truth is that when I talk about this, grow your consistent business to consistent 10K months, most of my clients, definitely in our Monetize Your Creative Power Soul Strategy sessions, would always ask me, and these are the three common questions that they ask. The first one is, okay, so Sue Chen, when I'm trying to grow my business to consistent 10K months, well, how much should I charge? And what number is it should I charge that is worth my value, right? That is worthy of my value and the worth that I know I am. So that would be the first question. The second thing is, well, what to do to find the clients that will pay me that, right? And once I know what I'm worth and what my value is, what do I do to find those clients? And the third one is, well, how do I get this business thing into consistent 10K months? So get out of that whole feast and famine roller coaster experience, and to know that month in, month out, it is going to be consistent. So that's really the three main challenges that most of my clients, ask me about when they come to me for the soul strategy sessions, to really work out, if I want to grow my business to consistent 10K months, these are the three things. These are the three stumbling blocks. So I'm going to dive deep into these three key things to help you get on your way to growing your business to consistent 10K months. So the first piece is all about, well, how much should I charge? And what is the number that is going to be aligned to my value and my worth? The first thing is for you to know that there's a misconception out there that when I lower my prices, it will be more affordable for people. And if I raise my prices, then it's going to limit the number of my clients. Okay, so this is a misconception out there, because this pricing economics only works if you are selling products. If you're selling stuff, then it definitely works. That if you reduce the price, then yes, more people can afford it, then you have more people buying it. And if you increase the price, yes, the number of people who can afford it will become less. So that only works if you're selling products. In our line of work, because we're selling transformation, and what we're doing is we're changing people's lives, then this pricing economics doesn't work. So if you've been doing this and wondering why doesn't it work, and it's getting you in that whole roller coaster ride, and you don't know, just like my mom didn't know what number is right, then know that, well, that's why. So in my world, when you decide to come work with me, either in my mastermind or in my private container with my VIP clients, what we do is we talk about aligned pricing. And first of all, we have to understand that in our work, this transformation really, if you want to put a dollar figure on it, it's priceless. It really is. For somebody who has been sick, and when you come in with your magic and you get them into well-being, if we want to put a dollar figure on it, it really is priceless, because not only does it change their well-being in terms of their health, but it really just spreads to all areas of their life. So this transformation is just of an exponential level. So if you want to put a figure on it, really, it's priceless. So if this is priceless, then that means that maybe the $500 per session you've been charging definitely is not aligned, right? Because it's priceless. In fact, one of my clients, when we had a soul strategy session, she said to me, you know what, I would love to be able to charge $500 an hour for my work. And just in a few minutes of talking with her, she said, you know what, I've changed my mind. I'm going to change that to $1,250. So just 3 minutes talking about understanding the value for transformation, she just increased, doubled, or if not tripled her pricing just like that, right? So it's when you understand that what we are offering, the delivery and the transformation, it really is priceless. The other nuance to this pricing is that we also need the client to be part of this pricing process, because without the client doing the work, you're doing the facilitating, but without them taking action and actually going through it, the transformation is not possible. So there's actually this other nuance that makes our line of work very different. Therefore, the pricing cannot be the usual cookie cutter economics pricing formula. So then you need to understand that because the client needs to be part of the process, they will only value what they invest in, right? Because they understand that, well, if I've got to do the work, then if it's cheap, then it almost devalues the effort that they've got to put in, right? So therefore, this is like a collaboration between you and your client. Then therefore, again, the value of this thing that you offer increases. And naturally, again, if you check back to your $500 a session pricing, you will realize, you can see how misaligned that pricing is and why it doesn't work. So the second piece then is like, okay, great, Su-Chen. So now I'm ready to do $1,250 for my program instead of $500. Now, where do I find these clients, right? What do I do to get these clients to pay me that? So the misconception with this is that we then now need to be everywhere. We need to be selling all the time, hustling all the time. I got to be, posting on Facebook all the time. The moment I wake up 9 a.m., I got to be on Facebook posting. I got to be on Messenger, reaching out to clients. I got to be sending out emails once every day, and then maybe on my Instagram. And then I've got to be like selling all the time. So that is a misconception that most people have. And as creative female entrepreneurs, where our passion is not really into selling, our passion is into doing the transformational work. And for some of us, selling is a bit kind of goes against the grain of, us wanting to do our purpose work. The idea of that definitely is draining and exhausting. So the good news is that in my world, yes, we understand that we need to be everywhere, but our energy needs to be everywhere, not physically on Facebook or social media 24/7, but our energy needs to be that. So what does that mean? That means that, first of all, we would need to recognize or work out, well, what is your uniqueness as an entity, right? Everybody's unique. Everything that you're made of, your quirks, your strengths, your weaknesses, all of that makes you unique. There's not any one person who is exactly like you with your life story, with your circumstances, with your challenges. Nobody is like you. That's why you are here, because you're offering that unique piece to the puzzle. So we want to work out what is your uniqueness as an entity. Then we got to work out what is your unique magic. Again, with lots of healers and coaches out there who look like we're doing similar work, you're not doing similar work. There is an element that you bring to the picture that only specific clients would come to you for, and we need to identify what your unique magic is. Then we need to layer on top your purpose. Your purpose is, well, is your business here just to give you 10K months? Does that mean after you get to 10K months, that's it, you're going to stop? Or is there something greater? What are you here to fulfill? And, if you're listening to me, definitely chances are you are here for a greater purpose than just getting to 10K months and that's it. So is it to, empower women? Is it to awaken the divine feminine? Is it to end world hunger? Whatever it is, there needs to be that purpose that is integrated within your offer or within your programs. And the last element is legacy, right? So legacy is, again, an even bigger impact beyond the purpose. It's when you leave this lifetime, what are you going to leave behind for your kids and your grandkids? What would you like them to remember you of? What is a piece of you that you would like to leave behind? So that baked into your offer, into your programs, will automatically, when you communicate that, allow your soul level clients to go, oh yes, I remember I had a soul contract with her. Now it's my time. I've got to go work with her. Right? So the moment that you put out your message out there on whatever platform or whatever medium you choose, that uniqueness, that radiation of that unique flavor will do the heavy lifting for you. Then obviously when you increase the number of people that you talk to, you can imagine that the impact or the number of clients will naturally flow in and come knocking on your door. The other thing that you need to understand is that for every pricing, there will be people coming to you. It's just like there are clients for the Toyota brand and there are definitely clients for the Mercedes-Benz, right? So definitely there are clients aligned to each pricing. So when you raise your pricing, just know that there will be infinite possibilities for those clients to come to you. There is not possible that when you raise your prices, there will be nobody. It's just about aligning your marketing and radiating that so that those clients will remember you. And remember, your high-end clients or your premium clients will recognize that the number that you have aligns to that transformation. It almost sounds ridiculous that if you're going to say you're going to heal their marriage and you're going to charge them $50, it just almost sounds ridiculous, and they're going to think, well, are you credible? Do you really know what you're doing? So the number, not that it has to be now 50,000, but it has to be a number that is in resonance with the value of the transformation, the delivery, and certainly the client's process or contribution to the transformation. And the third piece is about, how do I get this thing to be consistent? Because the moment I talk about consistency, I know, it's like for the creative, it's like, oh no, that sounds so boring. That's so bland. I just don't even want to do it, right? Just to share with you a story, going through school, my school reports, my teachers always say, Sue Chen is very consistent. She's an excellent student and her strength is in her consistency. And, across the board, through all my teachers, like for mathematics, for English, for history, every teacher would have that line about me being consistent. And, to me, I just thought, wow, I just sound like such a boring person. I sound so average. I sound so normal. And I was thinking, this consistency, I wonder, how am I going to get this consistency out of my thing? Because as you know, as I shared earlier, I wanted to be special, I wanted to be magical, I wanted to be unique, and consistent to me just sounded really bland and average. Well, obviously it wasn't until I realized later on that consistency is very much like the story of, the tortoise and the hare race, right? So we all thought that the hare would win the race, but the consistency, the tortoise was just the one who was taking one step at a time. He won the race. So in business terms, consistency is the difference between the entrepreneur who wishes the magical work will turn into consistent 10K months to the other person, right? The person who actually lives that reality, that person who lives the reality, who is able to charge maybe 5, 6, 7K per program and able to grow their business to consistent 10K months and beyond. So consistency really is the grounding force for your magical work. And if you are doing consistently the things you love, right, that's the magic thing. So in my world, we will talk about, it's about doing consistently the things you love. Then, that's not going to be a problem, is it? Because you just get to do more of what you love. So this consistency idea, if I could give you an analogy, it's like when people think about it, it's like keeping balls up in the air and they're thinking they're juggling, they're watching, and they're constantly keeping their eyes up in the air, trying to watch those balls. And on top of that, those balls are the balls that they hate to do, right? But they think they have to. So they're trying to keep them up. So it's a chore, it's a hassle, it's a challenge, and they're just keeping the balls up in the air. And they're just thinking, wow, if I just let one of these balls drop, the whole thing is going to collapse. So in my world, when we work on this, first of all, these balls, like I said earlier, they need to be things that you love to do, right? So if you don't love to get onto TikTok, I will not force you to get on there. It's about creating a unique, curated strategy that's customized to your genius. And again, it is curated from what already works. So if you are already at consistent 5K months, you have a formula that is working. People are paying you. Your program is selling. Something that you are doing is working. So what we would do is deconstruct what you've already done, pick out all the elements that's already working really well, probably, amplify some of those elements, replace the elements that are not working that well into this beautifully, uniquely curated strategy that's uniquely customized to you so that you love it. Then it's not about you juggling and keeping the balls in the air anymore. It's like you are just radiating this energy because you're just doing your magic. And now the balls are floating in the air instead of you having to juggle it. So it's effortless, it's magical, it's transformational, and you can just do it with your eyes closed because this is just, the balls are just, an extension of your magic or who you are. So just to summarize what we talked about today, we are talking about grow your business to consistent 10K months. And the 3 key challenges that people have, first of all, is to worry about, how much should I charge and what number is worth my value and my worth. Because if you think about it, if you know to be able to charge $5,000 per program and you get 2 clients per month, that's $10,000 already right then. And if you just now know how you manage to get those 2 clients and you do it month in, month out for your whole year, that is your consistent 10K months, 6-figure plus revenue right there and then. And that wasn't hard at all, right? So it's about knowing the number that you need to charge. The second piece is obviously radiating your uniqueness that included your magic as well as your purpose and your legacy so that your clients would just come knocking out the door, come out of the woodwork without you hustling or staying on social media 24/7. And the third piece was how to keep it consistent. Well, it's not hard to do something consistently if you love doing it. It's just hard when it becomes a chore. So it's all about us curating that strategy that you love to do. And it's just going to be fun. It's going to be magical. Your transformational work is fun. Your marketing is fun. Every part of your business is enjoyable. It's just such a joy. And the impact grows and you're receiving money and being abundantly resourced for it. So if you are, interested in finding out, what's my number? What's the number that I should be charging that reflects my price and my worth? Then I definitely encourage you to sign up for a soul strategy session with me. Now, if you're just catching me for the first time, probably this won't be your first time. But for those of you who are, my name is Sue Chen Low, and I'm a creative power, business alchemist, and sovereign leadership catalyst. And what that means is that I help conscious female creative entrepreneurs like you, like healers, coaches, personal transformational experts, or heart-centered business owners on a mission to grow your businesses to consistent 10K months, without struggle, without people pleasing, without having to prove yourself, by harnessing your creativity to build expansive business structures customized to your genius so that you can own your unique creative power and finally, ultimately be in sovereign leadership of your income, your life, and your destiny. So when you sign up for this soul strategy session with me, we'll get to look into, well, what pricing are you currently doing now? How much do you think you're worth, and how much are you really charging? And we will go through some of the things that you think are holding you back from actually getting that number. We'll also work out, well, what is your unique strategy? What are you currently doing that is working, and what are you currently doing that's off? Because then we can work out a plan, work out a unique strategy to get you from where you're at, whether it's at consistent 5K months and you are having those flashes of 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, and how to make that consistent into a strategy. So if you are an unstoppable trailblazer and you want to, wake up the leaders, basically ignite divine feminine in others, change people's lives, you want to be an example for your kids, your grandkids, and you want to show them that it is possible that women can be rich, powerful, and successful, being who they truly are, doing what they love, and still be kind and loving, then I definitely encourage you to sign up for the free Monetize Your Creative Power Soul Strategy session with me. So it's a no obligation, risk-free 1 hour time with me where you get to really experience my wisdom, my clarity, and my business alchemy expertise over 3 decades, and my eyes on your business. It's very much like one of my VIP client sessions. So you get to experience if you feel a resonance with the way that I work. So this is a strategy session that allows you to be able to see if the unique curated strategy that I propose in the business plan, or the strategy, is the pathway that you would like to see your potential realized. I had one client who, again, in these soul strategy sessions, said to me, look, I'm somebody who doesn't like to go on social media. And in fact, she doesn't. So she pretty much travels with her van. And, she's a somatic healer and heals sexual trauma. And she said to me, I just do posters. And obviously in our time now, because everything is so digital, to hear somebody doing doing posters is almost like, wow, what kind of time frame is that? But that is her methodology. As a unique person, she just likes to switch off from social media. So her question to me is, well, what is your unique strategy that you would craft for me? And so I would say to her, well, if this is how you do your work, I would say, off the top of my head, let's say we paint your van. So we almost put your marketing on your van, because she drives around. She drives around from town to town and she will park. And I said, well, we'll make it an experience. We'll make your van an experience. We'll make it that when you park, there's going to be a bit of a ceremony about it. And then, you would invite people into your van. The experience will be there. When I was first telling her, she wasn't buying it. And she said, you know what? In the beginning, when you said this van thing, and having marketing on it, I didn't think it was my thing. But the more you say it, it's like I'm feeling the magic of it, and having clients come into my space and we do the healing, and then I'm free to leave and drive around. She was, getting more and more excited about it. So, that is pretty much, you could say, a very unconventional example, but it's to showcase to you that it doesn't matter what kind of business you have, whether you think it's impossible, that you couldn't possibly make money from it. I'm here to show you that because I have worked with clients from brick and mortar, in the hospitality realm, in the education, in hair care, in fashion, And then in online coaching and dealing with healers and coaches, that and as a creative entity, there is really infinite possibilities that we could craft and design your business in a way that you love to do it, right? So we're going to blow up the old systems and we'll do it your way. So if you are looking for a mentor or a coach, somebody who walks the talk, who actually practices the method that she teaches, I am somebody. I am that somebody. If you want somebody who is going to hold space for your unlimited potential and won't give up on you. Perhaps you're somebody who gives up on yourself way too easily and you need somebody to stand by you. I will be that person. I mean, I was in that abusive marriage for 10 years. And I would say that in that 10 years, I was still practicing the utmost love and generosity and kindness towards my partner before I realized towards the tail end that, he wasn't going ever to change and, I would have to leave. So I am somebody who is resilient, who is persistent in the face of the greatest pressures and challenges, injustice. So if you need somebody in your corner to hold space for you and never give up on you, well, I am that coach for you. I know just, how demoralizing it is when somebody is questioning your worth, when somebody's minimizing your power. So I definitely know how important it is to have somebody on your side to be able to champion you. So I am definitely that person. Now, if you are somebody who wants to be heard, to be understood, I am that person for you. I'm somebody with all my quirks. I've had rock bottom times where I've done some things that I haven't been too proud of, but certainly I've evolved and exercised compassion for me. So for myself and for my journey, and definitely I will have compassion for you too. And I'm not here to judge your place because everybody has an evolution and a process, and I'm here to honor your uniqueness and to help you rise to that sovereign power, the queen that I know that is in you, to realize that, because the world, your children, your grandchildren, the world desperately needs what you have. So if you are looking for a coach who will be that for you, who will be able to make your mission, your purpose, your legacy a reality, then I definitely strongly encourage you to book that soul strategy session with me. Many of my clients say that they come out of it feeling so full. Their heart is feeling full. They are wiser. They are more clear and definitely more excited and more inspired after speaking with me. And most of them are definitely eager. They're just ready to sign up on the spot, because they feel a resonance with, how I come across with them in terms of what I speak of. So if what I'm speaking of today has been valuable to you and you definitely want to take the next step to find out more about how this can work for you, how you can grow your business to consistent 10K months, then I definitely encourage you to book the Soul Strategy with me and let's talk and make things happen. So that concludes part 1 of our 3-part masterclass training, Turn Your Magical Purpose Work into Gold. So the next part is something very juicy, is one of my favorite topics, which is receiving money like a queen. Now, money is very important. As much as we creatives balk at the idea of that, I certainly know that at the time when I realized that my fashion design vocation was a business after all, I felt like I sold my soul to the devil. I felt like I betrayed myself. But really, through my journey, money is an enabler. Money is a multiplier. And we need a multiplier to grow your work, your magical work. And money is really the most powerful avenue for that to happen. So I'm looking forward to have you join me in part 2 about receiving money like a queen. I'm looking forward to having you gain lots of value from that as well. Now, there are companion workbooks for part 1 of today's training. So I will also ask you to go back and listen to this training again if you want to put down all your takeaways and any wisdom or ahas that you have taken away from this training. It really helps to ground and put in concrete what you have learned so that you can embody it and apply it in your business. So till part 2, I am Su Chen Lo, creative power, business alchemist, and sovereign leadership catalyst, and I look forward to seeing you in a soul strategy session together. So let's create some magic together. Till next time, see you then.